All right, y'all. John chapter 5, verse 39. Slim, what's good with you, man? Shalom, man. John 5:39. Woo-hoo. John 5:39. And it says, search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. A man say, go ahead and search him. So I guess we got to search him. 2 Chronicles, the 18th chapter. 2 Chronicles, the 18th chapter. Second Chronicles 18 and about verse 1. 2 Chronicles 18 and verse 1. We're going to look at Jehoshaphat and Ahab. Jehoshaphat and Ahab, and we're going to look at some of the things that Jehoshaphat and Ahab had going on. Because they had some things going on. And it wasn't necessarily good. And let's see what verse 1 says. Now Jehoshaphat, now remember this is Yahudah his judge, had riches and honor in abundance, and joined affinity with Ahab, which means my father's brother. So when we look at that affinity, that is kathan, that means to become a son-in-law, make oneself a daughter's husband. Hello? All right. Say to make oneself a daughter's husband. A wife's mother, a wife's father, a wife's mother, or to make oneself a daughter's husband. Now, why would that be important? If he said he joined in infinity with this, that the king of Yahudah joined in infinity with the king of Yasharal. Why would this be important if he done became married to these people? Well, let's turn around and let's look and let's see why. Because it says Yahudah is judge. This is what Jehoshaphat name means. So now we need to go look at Leviticus, the 24th chapter, and the first verse. Not Leviticus, I'm sorry, Deuteronomy, the 24th chapter, and the first verse. And then we'll look at Leviticus 21. Deuteronomy 24 and 1. When a man have taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes, because he hath found some uncleanliness in her, then let him write her a bill of divorcement, and give it in her hand, and send her out of his house. When she is departed out of his house, she may go and be another man's wife. And if the latter husband hate her, and write her a bill of divorcement, and give it in her hand, and send her out of his house, or if the latter husband die, which took her to be his wife, the former husband which sent her away may not take her again to be his wife. After that she is defiled. For this is that is an abomination before Yahudah. Thou shalt not cause the land to sin, which Yahudah Elohim give thee for an inheritance. Now it's funny because a brother sent me this the other day. What dude like, see, you can't take your ex back. This is not what they're talking about. See, he ain't talking about you can't no boyfriend and girlfriend and no junk like that. This ain't what he's talking about. And it's really a provision about us as a people, which we're going to see in a moment. This man is telling you if you marry a woman and you get rid of her for some form of uncleanliness. Let's look at Ephesians chapter 5 real fast and let's see some forms of uncleanliness. Then he say you can write her a bill of divorce and put her out of your house. But he say if her latter husband that hate her, if her former husband would send her away, can't take her back if she go marry somebody else, and that latter husband died which took her to be a wife, say her former one can't take her back. Say if that latter husband hate her, write a bill of divorce and give it to her, tell her to leave, she can't go back to her first husband. He said you just pretty much, he said you can't do that. This will make the whole land become sin. It'll defile the whole land and make it sin. So what it's really talking about on our end is, see, we were married to Yahudah. Then we turned around and we went and laid up down with strange gods and became married unto them and made an affinity with them. Then when they didn't want nothing to do with us anymore, then we wanted him to take us back. And this caused the whole land to sin. And we're going to see how. Ephesians chapter 5 though. Hello? Hello?
It's Darius and McQuilly.
Ephesians 5, right? And verse 2. It says, walk in love as Mashiach also have loved us and have given himself for us an offering and a sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as become Kadeshim, neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks. But this ye know, that no whoremonger, nor unclean person, nor covetous man who is an idolater have any inheritance in the kingdom of Mashiach and of Elohim. And let no man deceive you with vain words, for because of these things the wrath of Elohim upon the children of disobedience. This man said clear as day, no unclean person is getting in. Now this man also told you that if you found any uncleanliness in your wife, you could get rid of her. Now, if we was to go look into Ezekiel 16 and some other places, we could find a lot of uncleanliness in the children of Yasharal. A lot of uncleanliness. And maybe we'll just look right this here, right? Because the word here is ervad. It literally means nakedness, nudity, shame. A nakedness of a thing. Exposed, undefended. Let's go to Genesis chapter 3. And then after Genesis chapter 3, Hebrew chapter 4. Genesis 3, probably about verse 3. We still hold to 2 Chronicles 18 and Leviticus 21. But Genesis chapter 3, about verse 3. And Hebrew chapter 4, about verse 12. So when you look at some uncleanliness, it's nakedness. Hello?
Hey, shalom.
Shalom. You all right? Genesis 3 and 3. It says, but the fruit of the tree, which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim have said, you shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die. For Elohim doth know that in the day you eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and you shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And when a woman saw that the tree was good for food, and it was pleasant to the eyes, and the tree desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. And the eyes of them were both open, and they knew that they were naked. Now there's some uncleanliness in them. Because now they're naked. Now they're naked. There's uncleanliness in them. And they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. And they heard the voice of Yahudah Elohim walking in the garden of the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of Yahudah Elohim amongst the trees of the garden. And Yahudah Elohim called unto Adam and said unto him, where art thou? And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, and I hid myself. Now, you know, you could go to Hebrew 4 and 12 now, right? You know, in the book of Revelation, when he returns, when the Lamb returns, all the people go to hide under dens and rocks and caves because their nakedness is exposed. Their uncleanness is exposed. Their shame, their sin. This is why in Revelation 16 and 15, he say, watch and keep your garments lest you walk naked and you see your shame. See, Yasharal, he had to put you out of the land because we had shamed the man because your nakedness had appeared. This is the very same thing Moses said in the wilderness in the 32nd chapter of Exodus when they had made that golden calf. And he told Aaron, you have caused the nakedness of the people to appear. You caused their shame or their sin to be exposed. This is why you see Adam, them sewing fig leaves together to cover up that uncleanness or that iniquity. You're going to need something to cover that up, which is the blood of the Lamb. But we're not finna get into that in great detail, though. Hebrews 4 and 12. It says, for the word of Elohim is quick and powerful and sharper than a two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of nephash and ruach, and of the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. Neither is there any creature that is not manifest in his sight, but all things are naked and open unto the eyes of him whom we have to do. So there's nowhere for you to cover or hide your naked. Go to Nahum chapter 3 real fast. There's nowhere for you to cover and hide that. That uncleanness would be exposed. See, in Ezekiel 16, he said, you open your feet to everybody that passed by. Everybody passed by, it was his. He said, your idolatry was seen by the nations. He said, that's how you cause them to be able to blaspheme and profane the word. You know what I'm saying? He said, your homosexuality, that was seen. Your adultery, that was seen. Every one of you nighed at your neighbor's house. You know what I'm saying? Not only that there, but you oppress the widow, and you oppress the fathers, and you oppress the stranger. All these things were seen before all men. That's probably about Nahum 3 and 5. I'm trying to think of some other things you can sit back there. We'll just keep going. Nahum 3 and 5. You have to realize this here. So he said, because of this shame or this uncleanness, he put you out of the land. And after you went and shamed yourselves with the nations, and get Hosea chapter 2, probably about verse 8. Nahum 3 and 5, I'll be around there in a minute. And I'm there. Listen what he say. Make it about verse 4 though. Yeah, I would read verse 3, but I'm not going to do it. Because of the multitude of whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcrafts, that sell nations through her whoredoms and families through her witchcrafts. Behold, I am against thee, saith Yahudah of hosts, and I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and I will show the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame. And I will cast abominable filth upon thee, and will make thee vile, and will set thee as a gazing stock. And it shall come to pass that all they that look upon thee shall flee from thee, and say, Nineveh is laid waste. Who shall bemoan her? Whence shall I seek comforters for thee? Now, he's sitting here talking about Nineveh, right? How he would expose all of her sins and all of her witchcrafts and all her abominations, and everyone would see her shame. Right? But let's sit back and look at it and see how this same uncleanliness or this erva or this shame was on your Savior. And that he had to go through all these things for our sake. So let's look at Hebrews 12 and 1. And then I want to say Isaiah 53 and 5. Y'all keep your finger on Nahum chapter 3. While we still holding not Deuteronomy, but Leviticus 21 and 2 Chronicles 18. All this what we looking at is because it said Jehoshaphat made an affinity with Ahab. So Yahudah made an affinity with Yasharal. Or Hamashiach, because Jehoshaphat means Yahuwah is judge and my father's brother. He has made an affinity to marry his father's brother's daughter. And we know from looking at when we looked at with Abraham and Sarah. We know from looking at Abraham and Sarah, he said, plain as day, this ain't my mother's daughter. This is my father's daughter. Which is again another witness and a confirmation of what we read with Abraham and what we seen with Mashiach marrying his father's sister. His father's daughter, my apologies. Hebrews 12 and 1. Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which doth so easily beset us. And let us run with patience the race that is set before us. Looking unto Yahushua, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the stake, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of Elohim. Hello? Hello? All right then. For consider him that endured such contradiction of sinners against himself, lest you be wearied and faint in your minds. You have not yet resisted unto blood, striving against sin. Now we see it clear as day when we read this Nahum chapter 3. He said, I will cast abominable filth upon thee and make thee vile and set thee as a gazing stock. Well, let's go to Yeshayahu 53 and let's see about that. Because to make something vile, let's see in Hebrew what it would mean to make something vile. That's why Paul turned around and said this vile body. Because this body is disgusting, it's despicable. You know what I'm saying? This flesh is diseased. It's a horrible thing. And those who truly love Yahuwah cannot wait till they put this thing off. Their desire is to get rid of it and cast it from them. And that's the same thing what we were talking about on Wednesday with a celestial mind and a terrestrial mind. You want to get that terrestrial mind and cast it away from you. The word vile here is Nabal. And that would take us back to Nabal. And you know it said Nabal was the son of Balaam. Any of y'all remember who Nabal is? No, he didn't throw stones at him. He wouldn't break bread with David's servants.
His wife came out.
Yeah, his wife came out and got him spared. Nabal is in 1 Samuel chapter 25. Nabal was a churlish man. Huh?
His wife was named Abigail.
His wife is named Abigail. You know what I'm saying? He was an evil man. He was called a son of Belial, meaning the son of the word. He was a son of the devil. So basically, when you sit back and look at Nabal, means to be senseless, to be foolish, to treat with contempt, to regard or to treat as foolish. We'll see what that means in a minute. Isaiah 53:3. I don't want verse 5. I want verse 3. He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows, acquainted with grief, and we hid it as it were our faces from him. He was despised, and we esteemed him not. Surely he hath borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of Elohim, and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgressions. He was bruised for our iniquities. Hold on, y'all, excuse me. Didn't come. The chastisement of our shalom was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. And we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned every one to his own way. Yahudah have laid on him the iniquity of us all. See, it's important that you hear what he said. He said every one of us had turned and did our own thing. See, that goes back to what it ends at the end of the book of Judges. He said there was no king in those days, so every man did what was right in his eyes. So when we look at the master and it says that these things about him, he was acquainted with grief, he was a man of sorrows, he was considered to be a fool. See, you know, in the book of Proverbs it says, strike, the rod is made for a fool's back. It also says in the book of Proverbs that a fool is counted wise when he shutteth his mouth. And then we didn't read the verse up under that, but it said he was oppressed and afflicted and he didn't open his mouth. Now ask yourself, how many people would say that you were a strong and wise man to allow people to beat you, to spit on you, to snatch your hair out your head and your face, to smack you with a reed? Now let's look at Colossians chapter 1 and maybe you'll get a good sense of how he was made vile or made foolish. See, that's why he say he despised the shame, all this here, the uncleanliness or the exposing of the nakedness of the sin, because he became your sin. He became your foolishness. Therefore, he received the recompense that a fool gets. A fool gets rods up his back. He took that for you. Because he wanted to enter into a contract or an infinity to become your husband, because I can't marry you right now. I had to put you away. Then what we're going to look at is in Leviticus 21 about how high priest can't marry no whore. And what this man had to do to be able to take his wife back, to be able to make this infinity with Yasharal. And then we're going to actually look at in that story how the man died for you. And then we're going to actually look at how he died and then how he went about to go die from two different people in the same story talking about the same thing. Colossians chapter 1. Then maybe you can get the understanding and feeling knowing to keep your mortal body from sin and stand on the word, knowing what this man did for your sake. Make sure that's what I want. I said Colossians, but I meant to say Corinthians. It might be Romans that I'm looking for. That's why I say that there. When you look at certain stuff in the word, they're talking about a fool. Well, you got to realize something. It's talking about the master. In some of the instances, 1 Corinthians 4 and 8 is better. That's what I want. 1 Corinthians 4 and 8. He said, now you are full, now ye are rich. You have reigned as kings without us, and I would to Elohim ye did reign, that we also might reign with you. For I think that Elohim has set forth us of the apostles last that was appointed to death. For you made a spectacle unto the world and to Malachim and to men. And you got to remember that the master was an apostle. We'll look at some of that there on the morrow. And he was made a spectacle unto the whole world, just like it said in Nahum. He was made a spectacle. We are fools for Mashiach's sake. Ye are wise in Mashiach. We are weak, but ye are strong. Ye are honorable. We are despised. That man said we are fools for Mashiach's sake. So we Naval. We are vile. Don't you realize how foolish people think we are for doing what we do, man? Y'all don't realize that, right? We are vile to this people. It's senseless and foolish to some people. Y'all believe in that book. Y'all keep them commandments. Y'all do this. Y'all do that. Y'all believe in it. Some even had a nerve to call a man a zombie. Hello? Hello? Shalom. Some have the nerve to call the man a zombie. Y'all got to remember this here. We fools for this man's sake. So literally you are vile. The master was made vile. He was made a fool. I got to look at Proverbs say fools or stripes are made for a fool's back. If you know the law say you strike a man 40 times with 40 lashes across his back. It just said by stripes you're healed. Because he was made vile, he was made a gazing stock. Y'all know what a gazing stock is, right? Son been made a gazing stock. Well, let's look and see what it is. Matter of fact, let's look at this abominable filth first. Whatever you got to take for the word, take it. Whatever you got to lose for the word, lose it. You know, I was just telling one of the brothers this earlier. Write this here, right? The word is shakats. It's a detestable thing or idol, an abominable thing, an abomination or a detest thing. And it just said that this man was despised. These people hated this man. He said, you've hated me without a cause because I came and did the works that no other man did. And he said, if the world hates you, know that it hated me first. So you have to realize when you take this man on, you become this gazing stock and you become vile. All because you want to make an affinity with your father's brother. And if Yahudah is your father, then Hamashiach is your brother, and we'll sit back and we'll look at that, which therefore you're making an affinity with him, like Jehoshaphat made an affinity with Ahab. See, we talking about this man actually marrying you and being able to take you back. See, I was telling the brother this the other day. Sometimes the things that we want might not be the best thing for us. I seen that there myself personally. I think that was Tuesday. It was a very saddening thing to come to that realization, but it was what it is because I had already came to that. You know what I'm saying? I had already came to that. Because I ain't going to lie to you, because it was still shooting through my mind some today. You know what I'm saying? It's a very saddening thing, though. When we turn around and we look at it, though, it can be a saddening thing to separate yourself from the world and to separate yourself from certain people. People who you love and you care about. To make an infinity with Mashiach. And we have to be willing to do that. Have to be willing to do that. Have to be willing to be able to be despised, to be made vile, and all of these things to be joined unto him. Now we know that they called the master a blasphemer. He was detested in these people's eyesight. Let's go back to Nahum chapter 3. Hold on, I didn't pull that gaze and start. That's what that was. Let me pull that. Let me pull that. And that word is rope. And it's a looking, an appearance, a seeing, a sight, or a spectacle. Let's look at Matthew 27. And let's see how this man is a gazing stock. And sit back and realize that you're a gazing stock in front of the eyesight of men. People look at you and they laugh at you. Most people don't really respect what you're doing. Not on the inward parts. Most people don't want to see you make it. Most people want to see you fall flat on your face. Now see, Yahudah don't want to see you fall flat on your face. and let you make a decision and a choice to do what you want to do, then he will let you and watch you fall flat on your face. Matthew chapter 27, about verse 39. Let's turn around and look how this man became a gazing stock. While he had been made vile, he was detestable, he was abominable. He already told you that before they came and got him. He told you that in the 15th chapter of John. He was detestable. These people hated him. They hated him. He was already made vile because he was seen to be a fool. And they that passed by reviled him, wagging their heads, and saying, Thou that destroyed the temple and built it in 3 days, save thyself. If thou be the son of Elohim, come down from the stake. Likewise also the chief priests, mocking him with the scribes and elders, said, He saved others, himself he cannot save. If he be the Malach of Yasharal, let him come down from the stake, and we will believe him. He trusted in Elohim, let him deliver him now. If he will have him, for he said, I am the son of Elohim. Now these people are mocking this man. They're looking at him, they're laughing at him. And this also goes back to what we talked about on Wednesday, about where he said, this is our Elohim, we have waited for him. We have hoped in his salvation. Because this is how these sinners look at you. If you the son of Elohim, if you a son of Elohim, if you a Yahudah, if you a Yasharal and Yahudah real, why are you going through what you're going through? Why are you dealing with what you're dealing with? Call him to come save you and get you out of this situation. This is how these sinners look at you, and you become a gazing stock to them because they look on your affliction. That's why he said you got to sit at the joy that's set before you and despise that shame. And endure. And count it all joy that you might be sat down at the right hand of the throne of Elohim, just like the Son is sat down at the right hand of Abba. You're supposed to look at it that way. Because you haven't shed no blood not to sin. This man shed his blood in order not to sin, in order to redeem you by that same blood. Let's go back to Nahum chapter 3. Y'all got to remember that. Ain't damn one of y'all shed no blood not to sin. Ain't nobody came to kill you talking about, you stand on this man's word. That ain't happened yet. So you ain't got no business falling out. You ain't got no business getting weak talking about I'm finna go do this here and I want to do this here. You ain't got no business doing that. You ain't went through nothing like that. Who came and slapped you in the head with a reed? Who came and put a crown of thorns on your head? Who spit on you? Who nailed you to a tree? Who peeled your beard out? Who pulled your hair out your head? Who hit you with a rock? Ain't nobody do you like that. All in the, you know what I'm saying? All not to sin. You ain't went through that. This is what he did going against sinners, a contradiction against himself. Verse 7. He said, It shall come to pass that all they that look upon him, they shall flee from him. Nineveh is laid waste. Who will bemoan her? Whence shall I seek comforters for thee? Well, you should know what that is. They that look upon him will flee. That's the apostles. They look right on him and hit it. They hit it. They left it. He said, who gonna bemoan you? You laid waste. Who gonna cry for you? When you turn around and look at it, the only people who were mourning for that man was the apostles. He said, that's when he said, what kind of communications are these that are sad? Who gonna cry for you? When you turn around and you look at it, even when you sit back and look at the purpose of, I think it's in Jeremiah 15 when he talk about he weep. Let me look at Jeremiah 15 real fast. When you look at a man divorcing his wife, that man don't want to divorce his wife. You don't think he shed some tears about that? That's a heartbreaking situation. But it is what it is because you got to go. Let me see. This is Jeremiah 15. 15 and 5. Listen what he said. For who shall have pity upon thee, O Jerusalem? Or who shall bemoan thee? Who shall go aside to ask how thou do? Thou hast forsaken me, saith Yahudah. Thou art gone backwards. Therefore will I stretch out my hand against thee and destroy thee. I am weary with repenting. See, we had to sit back and look at it, right? We would have to turn around and look at Mashiach as the father giving him a bill of divorce because I done found some uncleanliness in you. So I got to put you out of my house. And I can't take you back unless I call the land to sin, because now you done went and married into a new husband because that's sin. And now we're going to sit back and look at how he, after he defeats that, this is how he's going to be able to take his son back and take Yasharal back. Look at Leviticus 21. Because he had to be made new. Because bill of divorce means separation. You got to leave. I don't mess with you no more. Leviticus 21:7. Now you can look at verse 1 and see he talking to the sons of Aaron or the high priest. They shall not take a wife that is a whore or profane. Neither shall they take a woman put away from her husband, for he is Kadash under his Elohim. So he said a high priest can't marry no whore, and he can't marry no profane woman. And he can't marry a woman that's divorced. He can't do it. He's set apart to his power. There's no way for him to do this. That means Yasharal is in trouble. Now, we were talking about this probably last week. That's that 2 Samuel 14. Ain't finna go through that right at this moment. But he had to devise a means to bring his banished back to him. Because when you divorce a woman, she has been banished. Don't you realize that's why the master, he just said, you have forsaken me. That's why the master say, Elohim, why have you forsaken me? Because you forsaken me yourself. You done married a strange God. You done married a strange man. I can't have nothing to do with you. When we look at profane in this verse, it's kalal. It means to defile, to pollute, to desecrate, to be polluted, to be slain, to wound or pierce, or to be wounded. So when we turn around, and that's why I say we turn around and hold on. Hello? 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 Good. So when we look at this man getting a bill of divorce put in his hand, Mashiach got a bill of divorce put in his hand because the father put him away. Because he had to become the center of the people. He put him away. He had to make an affinity with death. Therefore, you done married another man. I can't take you back. Now, just sit back and say he can't marry a profane woman, one that's been wounded or pierced. This man was wounded for your transgressions and pierced because of your sins. So we have to turn around and do these same things. This man said, you can't marry a woman like this. You've been pierced through with death. You've been wounded with death. I can't take you. Don't you realize when the master's up there on the stake and he's wounded in his hands and in his feet, this man can't take you. I can't take you right now. Let's look at Romans chapter 7, verse 1. Then we go back to Second Chronicles 18. Romans 7, 1. Hold on one second, y'all. All right, y'all. Romans 7, 1. Know ye not, brethren, for I speak to them that know the law, how that the law have dominion over a man as long as he live. So be know that who he talking to. He said, if you don't know the law, he said he ain't talking to you. For the woman which have a husband is bound to the law, bound by the law to her husband so long as he live. But if the husband be dead, she is loose from the law of the husband. Hello? Come on. Come on. So then if, while her husband lives, she be married to another man, she shall be called an adulteress. But if her husband be dead, she is free from that law. So that she is no adulteress, though she be married to another man. Wherefore, my brethren, you also become dead to the law by the body of Mashiach, that you should be married to another, even to him who is raised from the dead, that we should bring forth fruit unto Elohim. Somebody got mute their phone for the echo. For when we were in the flesh, the motions of sin, which were by the law, did work in our members, bring forth fruit unto death. But now we are delivered from the law, that being dead, wherein we were held, that we should serve in newness of Ruach, and not in the oldness of the letter. You know, we talked about that a little bit on Wednesday, about when we're looking at a terrestrial mind and a celestial mind. This is what we see in the aspects of the master can't marry a whore. Priest can't marry a whore. Putting away this here. When Mashiach is up there on the stake and he became a profane woman because he's been wounded and he's been pierced. And the Father has given him a bill of divorcement because he has turned his back on him. And he has put him away. And said, I can't take you back because this will cause the land to sin. It was all for the purpose of showing you how you have to go from being fleshly to spiritual. It shows the transformation of a new mind that must be taking place for you to be able to make this infinity. Because remember, Jehoshaphat named me Yahudah judge, and he made an infinity or an agreement to be married with Ahab, my father's brother. So Yahudah is judged that it is the proper thing for you to do, to be married unto your father's brother. Let's look at Matthew 23, just so you can sit back and see that. Matter of fact, not even Matthew 23. I don't want that there. Go to Hebrews 2 and about 7. Hebrews 2 and 7. Hebrews 2 and 7. He said that mean Yahudah is judged that it is a correct thing for you to marry your father's brother. Remember now, because this is Yahudah marrying Yasharal. So he said it is a good thing for Yahushua to marry us. Hebrews 2 and 7. Thou made him a little lower than the Malachim, though thou crowned him with esteem and honor, and didst set him over the work of thy hands. For thou hast put all things in subjection under his feet. For in that he put all in subjection under him, he left nothing that is not put under him. But now we see not yet all things put under him. But we see Yahushua, who was made a little lower than the Malachim for the suffering of death, crowned with esteem and honor, that he by favor of Elohim should taste death for every man. For it became him, for whom are all things, and by whom are all things, and bringing many sons unto esteem, to make the captain of their salvation perfect through sufferings. For both he that sanctify and they that who are sanctified are all of one, for which cause he is not ashamed to call them brethren, saying, I will declare thy name unto my brethren, in the midst of the body will I sing praise unto thee. And again, I will put my trust in him. And again, behold, I and the sons which Elohim have given me. So what do we see here? We see that this man say, you are his brethren. I mean, I'm not ashamed to say that I have made an infinity, because he said they all are one. I'm not ashamed to say that I've entered into a contract or made an infinity with my father's brothers. That's the mind that we got to have, to be one with this man and to make infinity. This is what Jehoshaphat did with Ahab. When we look at it beneath the surface and past just the natural, that Ahab wanted to make her married with Ahab. Because that's what we remember what it was, that the Hebrew word for infinity in that place meant. It was talking about a marriage. So they had became joined to one another. So this is showing how Mashiach came to be joined with us. So we could walk in newness of Ruach, or no longer walk after the motions of sin, which were bringing forth fruit unto death, like we read in Genesis chapter 3, because there was some uncleanliness in us because of this flesh. And to walk in newness of Ruach, or to get a new heart and a new mind. 2 Corinthians 5 and about 10. And then we go back to 2 Chronicles 18. Now, 2 Corinthians 5 and about 14. For the love of Mashiach constrain us, because we thus judge, that if one died for all, then we're all dead. And they that he died for all, that they which live should not henceforth live unto themselves, but unto him which died for them and rose again. Wherefore henceforth know we no man after the flesh, yea, though we have known Mashiach after the flesh, yet now thenceforth know we him no more. Therefore if any man be in Mashiach, he is a new creature, old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new, and all things are of Elohim, who have reconciled us to himself by Yahushua HaMashiach, and have given to us the ministry of reconciliation. To wit, Elohim was in Mashiach, reconciling the world unto himself, not imputing their trespasses unto them, and have committed unto us the word of reconciliation. Now remember, now he say this man can't take this woman back because he's put her out. If he does, he calls the whole land to sin. So what does he end up doing? cause that woman or Mashiach to become sin so he can take her back to cause the land to be free from sin so that you can be made new, so that you can dwell with him and be in affinity with him. We have to take that into account and think about that and weigh that out. And really ask yourself, is this sin that I'm about to commit? Is this bad judgment that I'm about to make? Is this bad decision that I'm about to make? Is it really worth it considering what was done to reconcile me back to the man? Because reconciliation, I know I mentioned Hosea chapter 2, about verse 8. Let's go on and get that. Knowing that all that's been done to redeem you back to your husband, it would make great sense for you to no longer do that. Look at verse 7. It says, she shall follow after her lovers, but she shall not overtake them. And she shall seek them, but shall not find them. Then she shall say, I will go and return to my first husband, for then it was better with me than now. See, that's what we turn around and look at. See, you want to return to your latter husband, or your former husband, after your latter husband had done died. After you had to mess with the sinners, you had to mess with the idolaters, you had to mess with the idol god. Now you sat back and you consider, it was better for me with my first husband. Let me go back now. But look at all the things that we looked at. He can't take you back until he died. Then said, she did not know that I gave her corn and wine and oil, and multiplied her silver and gold, which they prepared for Baal. Therefore will I return and take away my corn in the time thereof, and my wine in the season thereof, and will recover my wool and my flax given to cover her nakedness. So this man said, I'm going to have to come back and take all the things that covered your shame. He said, this man's flesh, this man's ruach, this man's blood, I'm going to take it back, and I'm going to no longer cover your sins. See, this is when he sit back and he tell you in Luke, since you want to say the master delay is coming, and you want to eat, drink, and play, and beat the maid service and the men's service, when he come back, he going to catch you at a time unaware, and he going to catch you, and he going to give you your portion with the hypocrites and unbelievers. He said, now I will discover her lewdness in the sight of her lovers, and none shall deliver her out of my hand. It's the same way the token like this here. Now, of course, Yahudah did not do any of these things. But yet the corn and the wine and the oil that he multiplied, which they prepared for Baal, and he said he's going to come back and take all of that in his season. See, that's the key thing he say, in his season, in its appointed time. That's when the corn, the wine, and the oil was given in this season. Because all you got to go back is look in the law of Leviticus. In this season, you had to come with that wine and that corn. And it's set season for Passover at all times. And he said, I'm going to pull that back and I'm going to show you shame. That's the same thing happened to Mashiach. He pulled that back. His lewdness was seen. No one could deliver out of his hand because Mashiach told Pilate, you would have no power against me except it was given to you from Shamahim. Nobody delivered Yahushua out of these people's hand. Pilate tried. Pilate tried to say, man, this man ain't did nothing wrong. You're not going to deliver this man out of my hand. His lewdness, his shame, his nakedness, all of this is going to be seen for everybody. See, all the lewdness and the nakedness and the shame that Yasharal did, that man took all that on unto himself. So it would behoove a man to repent and follow this man in complete submission. I will also cause her birth deceits, her feast days, her new moons, and her Shabbats, and all her solemn feasts. I will destroy her vines and her fig trees. Wherefore she saith, these are my rewards that my lovers have given me, and I will make them a forest, and the beasts of the field shall eat them. And he carnal-minded people, they devoured the man. Then, of course, later on down the line, we have to read all this. He said, you won't call me Bela no more. You'll call me Ishi. You'll call me your husband. Well, this is talking about after this man has resurrected himself. Because he said, I lay my life down and I pick it up again. The Father has given me the power to do this. It says when Mashiach, he said Elohim was in Mashiach to reconcile us unto himself. So this man did all of this to take his wife back. And this is what we see with Jehoshaphat or Yahudah judge. Yahudah judged it a good thing for his son to die to redeem his wife. He judged it a good thing to devise a means to bring his banished back unto him. He judged that that was a good thing, and therefore he set the plan in motion by slaying the lamb from the foundation of the world to do this for a rebellious, gainsaying, disobedient, disbelieving, filthy, vile people. Now that in itself ought to move and motivate a man to never ever even, if the contemplation even came in, that you would knock it down with the word immediately. knowing what this man did for your sake. 2 Chronicles 18. Because remember now, he didn't do that for himself. 2 Chronicles 18 and 2. He didn't do that for himself. He didn't get nothing out of the deal. Yahushua didn't get nothing out of the deal but some pain and some grief. And some disrespect. And after certain years, he went down to Ahab to Samaria. And Ahab killed sheep and oxen for him in abundance for the people that he had with him, and persuaded him to go up with him to Ramoth Gilead. And Ahab the king of Yasharal said unto Jehoshaphat king of Yahudah, wilt thou go with me to Ramoth Gilead? And he answered him, I am as thou art, and my people as thy people, and we will be with thee in war. The king of Yahudah has just told Yasharal that I am just like you, and as you are, I will go with you into battle. That's what he's telling them now. You keep this in mind. And Ahab king of Yasharal said unto Jehoshaphat king of Yahudah, verse 4. And Jehoshaphat said unto the king of Yasharal, inquire, I pray thee, at the word of Yahudah today. Therefore the king of Yasharal gathered together of prophets 400 men, and said unto them, shall we go to Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall I forbear? And they said, go up, for Elohim will deliver it into the king's hand. But Jehoshaphat said, is there not here a prophet of Yahuwah besides these, that we might inquire of him? And the king of Yasharal said unto Jehoshaphat, there is yet one man by whom we may inquire of Yahuwah, but I hate him. For he never prophesied good unto me, but always evil. The same as Micaiah the son of Imelah. And Jehoshaphat said, let not the king say so. You know, it's always funny that people don't sit back and be like, I don't want to talk to him about the word, because he don't never say nothing I want to hear. That's how a lot of people move and operate. I don't want to talk to him about the word. He don't tell me what I want to hear. See, Ahab did what I was telling y'all about last week. See, Ahab went and hollered at 430 people he know was going to tell him what he wanted to hear. See, he already knew that these people were going to go right along with it. So I don't want to holler at Micaiah, because Micaiah ain't going for what I'm coming with. That's what I was telling y'all last week about people know who to try. They know who to bring information to. They know who to say stuff to. You know what I'm saying? Because I know these 430, they going to ride with me. These 430 going to tell me exactly what I want to hear. They going to go along with my jump and all that there. But he said, I don't want to holler at Micaiah. See, I don't never go holler at him. Because Micaiah ain't stamping what I'm. He going to tell me what it is. He going to tell me what I want to hear. So I know I ain't going to holler at him. See, I ain't going to bring that stuff to him. And I was telling y'all this last week. That's what people do. People know who to bring what to whom. What verse is this? Verse 8. And the king of Yasharal called for one of his officers and said, fetch quickly Micaiah the son of Imelah. And the king of Yasharal and Jehoshaphat king of Yahudah sat either of them on his throne, clothed in their robes. And they sat in a void place at the entering in of the gate of Samaria. And all the prophets prophesied before them. And Zechariah the son of Chaniah had made him horns of iron, and said, thus saith Yahuwah, with these thou shalt push Syria until thou be consumed. And all the prophets prophesied so, saying, go up to Ramoth Gilead and prosper, for Yahuwah shall deliver it into the hand of the king. See, this is what I'm saying, I tell you, right? We know the book say open rebuke is better than secret love, and faithful are the wounds of a friend. You know what I'm saying? We know that that's what the book say, right? So when we turn around and we look at that, don't you always find it amazing that the people who don't really care nothing about you, that will sit back and watch you fall, will always tell you that the stupidity about what you're about to go do, they go tell you to prosper in it? Go ahead up and prosper, man. Go ahead and handle that, man. You're going to have great success. You have to sit back and look at that there, man. If you bring a matter to everybody and everybody just tell you exactly what you want to hear, make you feel good about it, you've been got an Ahab. Maybe you, because remember now the book say Yahuwah declares to a man what his thought is. So you mess around, man, Yahuwah been and told him, yeah, man, go ahead and put it in your heart. That's what you tell him, because I've determined to kill him. See, so sometimes I wonder, do we think about things like that? Do we consider things like that? Do we weigh things like that out? Hello?
Yeah, y'all phone dropped.
We wonder about that, y'all. Do we think about that? That man had 430 men up there telling him exactly what he wanted to hear. Nobody different. Told him go up and prosper. Made him feel real good about what they were telling him. And only one person was going to come up and tell him something different than he wanted to hear. And he already knew that, and he didn't want to talk to him because he already knew I can't bring that to Micaiah to go up to Ramoth Gilead because I know he's not going to tell me what I want to hear. And that goes into what I was sitting back mentioning earlier. Sometimes what you want ain't what you need. And sometimes it's best served to let go of what you want so you can actually get what you need. You know what I'm saying? That probably, for all people, I wouldn't care what age you were, that's probably the hardest thing for a man or woman to be able to allow themselves to do, is to release what you want so it can make room for what you need. You know what I'm saying? Because what you want will fulfill you temporarily, but what you need will satisfy you for a lifetime. What verse am I in? I'm in verse 12. And the messenger that went to call Micaiah spake to him, saying, Behold, the words of the prophets declare good to the king with one assent. Let thy word, therefore, I pray thee, be like one of theirs, and speak thou good. Micaiah says, Yahudah live, even what my Elohim saith, that will I speak. And you know, that's the part that kills people. That's what people tell. Go ahead now, make sure you say what they said. But he let it be known. I swear on Yah's life, sure as he lived. Sure as he said in Shamahim, just like he said in Deuteronomy 32, I lift up my glittering sword by my right hand, I live forever. That means I'm going to say what this man tell me to say. You know, sometimes y'all might just sit back and look at it. I just had somebody ask me this the other day. They asked me my determination. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear because that's what you want me to tell you to comfort you. To tell you the truth. I'm going to tell you the truth. You might not like me after that. But it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? There was literally a king who Yah sent a prophet to, knowing that this man wasn't going to hear. And when that prophet kept telling this man this stuff, this man didn't want to hear that prophet say, he stopped talking to him. He said, truly, I have determined that Yah had determined to kill you. And he stopped talking to him. Sometimes you have to do that. They're like, I'm not finna keep telling this niggas because obviously it's apparent y'all want to kill him. I'm going to let him alone. I'm going to let him alone. Verse 14, and when he was come to the king said unto Micaiah, shall we go to Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall I forbear? And he said, go ye up and prosper, and they shall be delivered into your hand. And the king said to him, how many times shall I adjure thee that thou say nothing but the truth in the name of Yahudah? Then he said, I did see all Yasharal scattered upon the mountains as sheep that have no shepherd. And Yahudah said, these have no master. Let them return therefore every man to his house in Shalom. He just told Jehoshaphat to go home. He told Ahab to go home too. He told both of them to take their black behind home. Now, taking account, if you go read 1 Kings 22, it states that we didn't have no beef with Syria at the time. Go get 1 Kings 22 and 1 so you can see that. We didn't have no beef with Syria at the time. These niggas were going to start something. That's what they were going to do. They were going to start something. Well, Ahab specifically. First Kings 22 and 1, just so you can see that. It wasn't no beef going on. They say they continued 3 years without war between Syria and Yasharal. And it came to pass on the 3rd year that Jehoshaphat, the king of Yahudah, came down to the king of Yasharal. So you can come back now to 2 Chronicles 18. So there wasn't no war going on. Wasn't no fighting, wasn't no nothing. Ahab just wanted to take off and fight. This is all Ahab. Just what he wanted to do. Give me 1 second, y'all. When we look at Syria, that is a ram or exalted. So he said, it wasn't no war between the exalted one and he that has power to rule as Elohim. He said, wasn't no war going on between these for 3 years. And why is that important? Jim Dandy, how long was the master ministry for? For 3 years, right? Who is the exalted one in this instance? Who would be Syria in this instance? If we look at exalted And we know that Yasharal is Yahushua. So who would the exalted one be that there wasn't no war with for 3 years? Yahuwah himself. That would be the Father himself. Did they have war for them 3-year period? Peace was in the midst of. When did the Father and the Son go to war then? When he went up on the stake, he went to war with him. You know what I'm saying? And what happened when we sit back and see what goes on when he went to make the war with him? When Jehoshaphat makes an affinity with Ahab or to bring that marriage about. Now I got to go to war with him. This is why they fight in Syria. Now I want to keep this in mind because Syria is what's causing all this. Now, of course, Syria won't be the father in this instance when we look. Well, yeah. I'm going to have to use that one on that end when we get to Ahab. Come on to 2 Chronicles 18. Now, let's look at verse 17. Because we're just going to look at the whole story. We won't need much of 2 Chronicles 19. Probably won't even go that long this evening. Just deal with this particular topic and story and be done with it. Verse 17 says, and the king of Yasharal said to Jehoshaphat, did I not tell thee that he would not prophesy good unto me, but evil? And he said, therefore hear the word of Yahuwah. I saw Yahuwah sitting upon his throne, and the host of Shamahim standing on his right hand and on his left. And Yahuwah said, who shall entice Ahab, king of Yasharal, that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one spake after this manner, and another after that manner. Then there came out a Ruach, and stood before Yahuwah, and said, I will entice him. And Yahuwah said unto him, wherewith? Now what we about to look at in a moment, y'all done heard it before, but if somebody ain't never heard it, they going to hear it today. And he said, I will go out and be a lion Ruach in the mouth of all his prophets. And Yahuwah said, thou shalt entice him, and thou shalt also prevail. Go out and do even so. So this man, they said, now therefore, behold, Yahuwah hath put a lion Ruach in the mouth of these thy prophets, and Yahuwah hath spoken evil against thee. Look at Proverbs chapter 1 about verse 22. See, because Ahab had already been doing evil, and he had determined it in his heart to do evil, Yahuwah say, I'm going to give you exactly what you're looking for. Since that's what you want, that's what I'm going to give you. And you get you Isaiah 66 to go along with it, and 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. It's just on general principle, just to remind somebody if they ain't never heard it. Remind somebody if they heard it, and to bring it to somebody's attention who's never heard it. That Yahuwah will definitely send a man to tell you exactly what you want to hear because he had determined to kill you. See, he had determined to kill Ahab. So he made sure that Ahab was going to get exactly what he wanted to hear because I'm going to kill him. How long, ye simple ones, will you love simplicity, and scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge? See, Ahab hated knowledge. That's why he was worshiping Baal and married to Jezebel in the first place. Turn you at my reproof. This is the key thing you need to realize, man. This man say, turn at his correction. He say, behold, I will pour my Ruach unto you. I will make known my words unto you. This man say, when you turn at this man's correction, he will put his spirit on you. He will let you know what his words say. That means he say he will make known his son unto you. He said, but just like he told you in Romans 1 and about 28, but if you don't like to retain Elohim in your knowledge, he will give you over to a reprobate mind, and you will do those things that are not convenient so that he can kill you. See, he hadn't gave Ahab over to that. He didn't like to retain the word of Yahuwah in his knowledge, so I'm going to let you serve idols, and I'm going to let you believe that I want you to go up to Ramoth Gilead and prevail, because I want to kill you. He said, because I called and ye refused, I have stretched out my hand and no man regarded, but you have set at not all my counsel and would none of my reproof. I will also laugh at your calamity, and I will mock when your fear come. And when your fear come as a desolation, and your destruction come as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish come upon you, then they shall call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me early, but they shall not find me. For that they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of Yahuwah. They would none of my counsel. They despised all my reproof. See, it's a lot of time you have to sit back and look at it. Somebody telling you something for your own good, and you want to keep that man say, well, don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. Don't even follow my recommendation. Don't even follow what I say. Just go ahead. I'm going to fill you up with your own ways to your own destruction. That's what happened with Ahab. Isaiah 66 and 5. That's what he's doing to Ahab. You don't want to make sure you don't get yourself caught up in that. 66 and 3, actually. Isaiah 66 and 3. He that killed an ox as if he slew a man. He that sacrificed a lamb as if he cut off a dog's neck. He that offered an oblation as if he offered swine's blood. He that burned incense as if he blessed an idol. Yea, they have chosen their own ways, and their soul delight in their abominations. I will also choose their delusions, and I will bring their fears upon them. Because when I called, none did answer. When I spake, they did not hear. But they did evil before my eyes, and chose that which I delighted not. See, that's what I was sitting back telling you, right? Let's say you go off one time, and this man is this is what actually gets you cut off. It's not always this necessarily the act itself. Let's say you done committed a trespass. But when the man come with the rebuke and the chastisement to tell you to turn from that trespass, and then you go do it again, or he gives you an exit out of a situation that you should not be in, and he gives you a way out and you don't take it, or when he's calling you out of a situation and you don't heed, that's when he say, screw you. Because you're telling him, screw him. That's the issue. Because he can have mercy on the transgression if he presented unto you and you sincerely repent from the heart. But if you go do it again, or when you hear the recommended course of action or the call to return and you don't, that's what gets you cut off. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, about verse 10. When you despise his counsel because it's not what you want to hear, like with Ahab. He despised Micaiah's counsel because it wasn't what he wanted to hear. It wasn't going along with his lust. It wasn't satisfying his desire to go to war with a people who had done nothing to him. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 10. And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. So you got to understand something. The things that are wrong will deceive you. Sin is deceitful. That's why I say it's deceitful meat. That's what he sat back and told you, don't be desiring his dainties. It's deceitful meat. That was Solomon told you in the 23rd chapter of Proverbs, man, about verse 2 or 3. Don't desire the dainties of certain men. It's deceitful meat. Do not desire the meat of the devil or the meat of sinners. That stuff will destroy you. It'll have you thinking you straight and you ain't. See, that will mess around with Jehoshaphat. You been out here messing with this man. That's deceitful meat this man got going on. You about to get yourself in trouble for fooling with him. He's saying, for this cause Elohim shall send them a strong delusion that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned, who believe not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. Now this man done told Ahab, take your stinking behind home. He said, these sheep ain't got no master. They ain't got no shepherd. Go on to the house. But let's go on 2 Chronicles 18 and let's see what Ahab decided to do. Now even like this here, right? He said there's no temptation common unto man, but even in the midst of temptation, Yahudah make an escape. Even though he had determined to kill his man, he still gave him a way out. He still gave him a way out. And he didn't take it. See, and that's the key thing you have to sit back and look at. You could be in situations where you could sin or you done sinned in that certain situation, and Yah makes a way out, and niggas don't walk out the door. You realize, man, that man shut that door, boy, you can't open it. Once he shut the door, man, that's a wrap. I'm sorry. I'm on the wrong page. Verse 23 of this 18th chapter of 2 Chronicles. Then Zechariah the son of Chani came near and smote Micaiah upon the cheek and said, which way went the Ruach of Yahudah from me to speak unto thee? Same way they slapped the master. Y'all already know. And Micaiah said, behold, thou shalt see on that day when thou shalt go into the inner chamber to hide thyself. Then the king of Yasharal said, take ye Micaiah and carry him back to Ammon, the governor of the city, and to Joab, the king's son, and say, thus saith the king, put this fellow into prison and feed him with the bread of affliction and with the water of affliction until I return unto Shalom. Another instance like how you see the master locked up in Capheus, the high priest's house. The ruler, because the high priest was the ruler of the people. You see the governor is the ruler of the city, and they took him and threw him in there just like they did the master. And y'all know he had the bread and water of affliction when he sat down at the table to eat. Verse 27 said, Micaiah said, thou shalt certainly return to Shalom, then have not Yahudah spoken by me. And he said, hearken all ye people. And he let him know, I bet if you come back and destroy the authority of Tactical, I bet y'all ain't spoke by me, nigga. Now that's confidence right there that you know Yahudah is with you. If you come back here alive, boy, y'all ain't said nothing to me. Because I bet you die today, nigga. And you know when people hear tonight, and that's the same thing we talked about a few months ago. See, I know y'all ain't put that in his mouth. He didn't tell him to tell me that. That's how he was looking at it. Because y'all had it hard in his heart. You're not going to hear it. Because I promise you I'm going to kill you today. 28. So the king of Yasharal and Jehoshaphat, the king of Yahudah, went up to Ramoth Gilead. And the king of Yasharal said to Jehoshaphat, I will disguise myself and will go to the battle. But put thou on thy robes. So the king of Yasharal disguised himself, and they went to the battle. Now let's sit back here and look at Philippians chapter 2 and verse 5. Now he has disguised himself to go to the battle with Syria or with the exalted one. Philippians 2 and 5. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Yahushua HaMashiach, who, being in the form of Elohim, thought it not robbery to be equal with Elohim, but made himself of no reputation, so he's disguising himself, and took upon him the form of a servant, and was made in the likeness of men. Remember, they say he put his robes off. He didn't put his robe on. We already read that in Hebrews 2 and 7. He was made a little lower than the Malachim, and was made like a man for the suffering of death, that the captain of salvation make all us perfect through suffering. So he had to disguise himself before he came into the battle. Before he went to fight against the Father, he had to come and disguise himself. But made himself of no reputation, and took upon him the form of a servant, and was made in the likeness of men. And being found fashioned as a man, he humbled himself, and became obedient unto death, even the death of the stake. Wherefore Elohim also have highly exalted him, and given him a name which is above every name, that in the name of Yahushua every name should bow, of the things in Shamahim, and the things in the Arats, and things under the Arats. And that every tongue should confess that Yahushua Mashiach is master, to the esteem of Elohim the Abba. Now, of course, we know the Son didn't literally go to war with the Father, but we sit back and seeing that exalted and Yasharal are about to fight. They were at Shalom for 3 years, and now there's about to be a battle. And you will actually see how the exalted overcame Yasharal in 2 Chronicles 18 in this battle, or how the Father did not spare his Son, but overcame him. And he overcame him for the purpose of the Son being able to overcome sin and death, so that we, by reason of his death, can do the same. Come on back to 2 Chronicles 18. We had to look at it because he said he disguised himself. He said he came into his own received him not. He had to disguise himself. Say Elohim was manifested in the flesh. Matter of fact, look at Romans 8 and 1. This man had to take this, but he had to disguise himself. The people didn't know who he was. Matter of fact, we'll look at some of these places. These people did not know who he was. He disguised himself. They did not know this was the king of Yasharal in the midst of them. They did not know. Romans 8 and 1. There is therefore now no condemnation to them which are in Yahushua HaMashiach, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Ruach. For the Torah of the Ruach of life and Yahushua HaMashiach have made me free for the Torah of sin and death. For what the law could not do, for that it was weak through the flesh, Elohim sending his own Son in the likeness of sinful flesh, and for sin, condemned sin in the flesh, that the righteousness of the Torah might be fulfilled in us who walk not after the flesh, but after the Ruach. So he said he sent his Son in the likeness of sinful flesh. That means he was disguised. He was disguised. Well, let's look at something in Matthew 16. And let's look at a question that he asked his apostles. Now, how many times do people ask, they say, if you be the Mashiach, tell us plainly. He disguised that they didn't know who he was. Let's look at one of the questions that he when he asked his apostles. He said, who do men say I am? Say I am. Let's look and see what these men said to him. 16 and 13. When Yahushua came into the coast of Caesarea Philippi, he asked the disciples, saying, whom do men say that I, the Son of Man, am? And they said, some say that thou art Yachanan near Mercer, some Elijah, and others Yirmiyahu or Jeremiah, or one of the prophets. He saith unto them, but whom say ye that I am? Simon Peter answered and said, Thou art Mashiach, the son of the living Elohim. Well, let's look at what the master said to him. Yahushua answered and said unto him, Baruch art thou, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood have not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in Shamahim. So it was from on high that Peter knew who he was, but these men had no idea. They said, man, we think he one of the prophets. And that's something I've been meaning to go through this for a long time. That means when the people saw him, man, they knew that he was fulfilling the book. They say he got to be one of the prophets. He got to be Jeremiah. He got to be Elijah. He doing just like they did. He talking just like they talk. He's saying just what they said. Because he had disguised himself. They had no idea who he was. Look at this. Is this John 19 that I'm thinking about? Look at John 19. And it's even more like that to this day. To whom is the arm of Yahudah revealed, and who have believed our report? He's still disguised to some of these people. John 19 and 19. And Pilate wrote a title and put on the stake, and the writing was Yahushua of Nazareth, King of the Yahudim. This title read many of the Yahudim, for the place where Yahushua was crucified was nigh to the city. And it was written in Abrim and Greek and Latin. Then said the chief priests of the Yahudim to Pilate, Write not King of the Yahudim, but that he said he is the King of the Yahudim. Pilate answered, What I have written, I have written. See, they said back and they told him, like they said, even one place where they said, he said, whoever maketh himself a king speak against Caesar. These men cried out and said, you let this man go, you Caesar's friend. This man even told Pilate, they say, we have no king but Caesar. Because they had disguised themselves. They couldn't even recognize their king. Because Elohim was manifested in the flesh. He said the word became flesh and dwelt among us. They had no idea. He disguised himself. 2 Chronicles 18. Don't mess around and let this man disguise himself to you now. Because then you're going to be in trouble. 2 Chronicles 18. Second Chronicles 18. Verse 30. Now the king of Syria had commanded the captains of the chariots that were with him, saying, Fight ye not with small or great, save only with the king of Yasharah. Notice that the exalted say don't fight with nobody but him. I don't want to fight nobody but him. He said he commanded the captains of the chariots that were with him, don't fight with nobody small or great, just the king of Yasharah. Matthew chapter 26. Probably about verse 46. and 46. $47 actually. Matter of fact, drop on down to about 52. Then said Yahushua unto him, Put up again thy sword into his place, for all they that take the sword shall perish with the sword. Think thou not that I cannot pray to my Abba, and he shall presently give me more than 12 legions of Malachim? But how then shall the scriptures be fulfilled, that thus it must be? And that same hour said Yahushua to the multitudes, Are you come out as against a thief with swords and staves for to take me? I sat daily with you teaching in the temple, and you laid no hold on me. But all this was done that the scriptures of the prophets might be fulfilled. Then all the disciples forsook him and fled. And they that lay hold on Yahushua led him away to captive. The high priest, where the scribes and elders were assembled. But Peter followed him afar off into the high priest's palace and went in and sat with the servants to see the end. Now that just confirmed a couple of things, just reading what we mentioned earlier, with Micaiah being brought into the governor's house, with the apostles fleeing. But when you notice the chief priests and scribes, they came only looking for Yahushua. They only came looking for the king of Yasharal. They didn't want the apostles. They didn't want nobody else. They say only grab him, because that's the only person the Father determined to be harmed or to be taken and to be killed. You notice nobody perished with Yahushua but him, because he got to fulfill the book. That's why people say, man, is he one of the prophets? Is he Elijah? Is he Jeremiah? He's fulfilling the book. The people were speaking out of their mouth that he was fulfilling the book without even realizing that he was fulfilling the book. They say, only go to war with him. See, look at John 19 and 10, since I'm talking about it. John 18 and 36, actually. Make it 33. 18 and 33. Then we'll just read 19 and 10 in the chapter of John. And we'll go back to 2 Chronicles 18 and continue on. Then Pilate entered into the judgment hall again and called Yahushua and said unto him, Art thou the king of the Yahudim? Yahushua answered him, Say thou this thing of thyself? Or did others tell it thee of me? Pilate answered him, I, Yahudim, thy own nation and chief priests have delivered thee unto me. What hast thou done? Yahushua answered, My kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, then will my servants fight, that I should not be delivered to the Yahudim. But now is my kingdom not from hence. Pilate therefore said unto him, Art thou a king? King then, Yahushua answered, Thou say that I am a king. To this end was I born, and for this cause came I into the world, that I shall bear witness unto the truth. Every one that is of the truth hear my voice. Now you sit back and you look at the difference, right? Now Jehoshaphat, you're going to sit back and you're going to see that Jehoshaphat era war, he joined into somebody he ain't had no business being joined into. But Yahuwah was with him. So therefore when he cried out in his calamity, which we're going to read, Yahuwah spared him. You know what I'm talking about? Now he's sitting back looking at, don't touch nobody small or great. Just him, because he told you, my kingdoms of this world, my servants would fight. That means if my servants would fight, that means you would be able to take them. But you're not going to take anybody small or great, just me. Matter of fact, I think he says that in John 18. My page missing in this book. Let me show you where he say, let them little ones go. Swing over here to the 18th chapter, a little bit lower, John 18, probably about verse 1. Let me hit that way it come to mind. Praise Yahuwah for the word where that come to mind. Let's look at that. He say, let these little ones here go. 18 and 4. I think that's where he started at, and he begins to say that. Praise Yahuwah for the word. Look at this right here, right? Yahushua, therefore, knowing all things that should come upon him, knowing what's written in 2 Chronicles 18, he already knows what's going to happen to him, went forth and said unto them, Whom seek ye? They answered him, Yahushua of Nazareth. Yahushua saith unto them, I am he. And Judas also, which betrayed him, stood with him. As soon as he said unto them, I am he, they went backward and fell to the ground. Then asked he them again, Whom seek ye? They said, Yahushua of Nazareth. Yahushua answered, I have told you that I am he. If therefore you seek me, let these go their way, that the saying might be fulfilled which he spake, of them which thou gave me have I lost none. Because don't grab none small or great. Just grab the king of Yasharal. That's all I want. I don't want them. And he sat back and told them, let these here go, because the only person you want is me. You don't want them. The book got to be fulfilled. John 18 and 38. Pilate saith unto him, What is truth? And when he had said this, he went out again unto the Yahudim and saith unto them, I find in him no fault at all. But you have a custom that I shall release unto you one at the Passover. Will you therefore that I release unto you the king of Yahudim? Of the Yahudim, they cried, they all again, saying, Not this man, but Barabbas. Now Barabbas was a robber. 19 and 10 of John. Then saith Pilate unto him, Speak thou not unto me? Know thou that I have power to crucify thee, and I have power to release thee. Yahushua answered, Thou could have no power at all against me, except it were given thee from above. Therefore he that delivered me unto thee have the greater sin. The power to take the king of Yasharal for Syria was given from above. You already read that when he said that the Syrians are going to take you down, that they're going to kill you. This is the same thing. They could have touched Ahab if Yah hadn't given them into the Syrians' hands. The Syrians would have not been able to touch Ahab nor bring him down. And what do you see who's actually taking him down? Is a Gentile. Just like that's who actually executed the death on Yahushua was a Gentile. You turn around and see who actually killed Ahab. It was a Gentile. Let's go to 2 Chronicles 18 and finish this on out, because now we got to get ready to wind it down. Wind it down. 2 Chronicles 18. About to hit the stretch run. Verse 31. And it came to pass when the captains of the chariots saw Jehoshaphat, they said, it is the king of Yasharal, because he had the robes on. Therefore they compassed him about him to fight. But Jehoshaphat cried out, and Yahudah helped him, and Elohim moved them to depart from him. See, this is where it goes back where Peter was quoting Telahim 34, you know, the eyes of Yahudah are upon the righteous, and his ears are open unto their cry. See, when Jehoshaphat cried out, he moved that these people would move from him. See, if you do the things that please Yahudah, he said he even calls your enemies to be at peace with you. And he called his enemies to step away from this man. He cried out, they left. And he can show you how Yahudah can make people leave you alone. He said, because it's a good thing for him to recompense those that trouble you. Verse 32 though, for it came to pass that when the captains of the chariots perceived that it was not the king of Yasharal, they turned back again from pursuing him. And a certain man drew a bow at a venture, and smote the king of Yasharal between the joints and the harness. Therefore he said to his chariot man, turn thy hand, that thou may carry me out of the host, for I am wounded. And the battle increased that day, howbeit the king of Yasharal stayed himself upon his chariot against the Syrians until the even. And about the time of the sun going down, he died. Well, we can sit back and see that the exalted one took the prince who would rule as Elohim and hit him in his fifth rib or hit him in his side like Mashiach was on the stake that got hit in his side, and he stayed on that stake to the going down of the sun, and then he died. So now we see Yahushua being offered up by the Father or taken out by the Father here in 2 Chronicles 18. But now as we move into 19 and 1, we actually going to see the punishment of Jehoshaphat for joining with Ahab, and that the punishment of Jehoshaphat joining with Ahab is why the people had to kill Mashiach in the first place. Verse 1. And Jehoshaphat the king of Yahudah returned to his house in Shalom to Jerusalem. And Jehu the son of Hananiah the seer went out to meet him and said to King Jehoshaphat, should thou help the ungodly and love them that hate Yahudah? Therefore wrath is upon thee from before Yahudah. Nevertheless, there are good things found in thee, and thou hast taken away the groves out of the land, and have prepared thine heart to seek Elohim. And Jehoshaphat dwelt at Jerusalem, and he went out again through the people from Beersheba to Mount Ephraim, and brought them back. Listen now, Jehoshaphat dwelt at Jerusalem, he went out again through the people from Beersheba to Mount Ephraim, and brought them back unto Yahudah Elohim of their fathers. Now I'm going to ask you something here, gentlemen. How y'all think that's going to relate to the master right there? Who on this phone think how that's going to relate to the master right here? Who got an idea? What he told Jehoshaphat. How can you love and help the ungodly and those that hate Yahudah? Therefore wrath shall come from Yahudah on you. Anybody on this phone got any idea?
It kind of made me think about, like, you know, you can't serve two masters. So
That is true.
to the two masters.
That is definitely true. Okay, well, let's sit back and look at this here. Knowing that Jehoshaphat is the king of Yahudah, the king of Judah, then what pertains to him is going to have to pertain to the master. This man says, should you help the ungodly and love them that hate Yah? He said, therefore, there's going to be wrath on you. John 3 and 14. Then he said, also, if you know Beersheba is in the land of Yahudah, the land of Judah. Ephraim is in the land of Yasharal, or Israel, or Samaria. So what you see in him, he talking about he going through the land, because you know the master was living in Jerusalem. But he went out amongst the people, through the people, but you see him encompassing the land, preaching the gospel to bring the people back. Because we're going to sit back and see that. He called the people to repent. He was going through the land to do this. All this stuff with these kings, it lines up with him. But he said, how can you help the ungodly? He said, how can you help the ungodly and love them that hate Yahudah? Therefore, he said, wrath is going to come from you, from Yahudah. See, now you've seen the wrath of Yahudah fall on Ahab. your father's brother. Well, your father is Yahudah. Your brother is Mashiach. The wrath of the Syrians fell on him. You know what I'm saying? And then we looking at him dying. That's also the redemption for us to come back to him. Now we're going to look at Jehoshaphat. He's going to get wars on him because he helped the ungodly and he loved those that hate Yahuwah. And this is going to pertain to Mashiach because he helped the ungodly and loved those that hate Yahuwah, which is us. See, we despised Yahuwah. We didn't keep his commandments. We didn't believe. This man came to help us. This man came and loved us. We were ungodly. That's why that wrath fell on him. Just like he was telling it was going to happen to Joseph. He said, but nevertheless, good things are found in thee because you prepared your heart to seek your Elohim. Well, we already know it was already in the son's heart to seek his Elohim. This man said, for this cause was I born, and for this cause I came into the world. I came into the world for the wrath of Elohim to fall on me because I loved and helped the ungodly. John 3:14. So y'all don't sit back and realize that this man knowingly came and took wrath on his head to help your wicked self. And when I say yo, I'm talking about all of us, the whole house of Yasharal. John 3:14. And as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so the Son of Man must be lifted up, that whosoever believe in him should not perish but have eternal life. For Elohim so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believe in him should not perish but have everlasting life. For Elohim sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. He that believe on him is not condemned, but he that believe not is condemned already, because he hath not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of Elohim. So he said this man sent his Son into the world to give his life that we should live, because this is the Son actually helping the ungodly. Go to Romans 5:1. This is him loving those that hate Yah. You got to realize something. We hated Yah. We despised him. We did not obey him. This man gave himself for us. He loved and helped the ungodly. So the wrath of Elohim got to fall on his head, or he's not Jehoshaphat. He's not the king of Yahudah. Then the book is not about him. Praise Yahuwah for salvation. Does this make sense, y'all? Do you understand it? Do you understand what I'm talking about? Romans 5:1. Therefore, being justified by faith, we have shalom with Elohim through our Master Yahushua HaMashiach, by whom also we have access by faith into his favor, wherein we stand and rejoice in the hope of the esteem of Elohim. And not only so, but we esteem in tribulations also, knowing that tribulation work patience. And patience experience, and experience hope. And hope make not ashamed, because the love of Elohim is shed abroad in our hearts by the Ruach HaKodesh, which is given unto us. For when we were yet without strength, in due time Mashiach died for the ungodly. For scarcely for a righteous man will one die, yet peradventure for a good man some would even dare to die. But Elohim commended his love towards us, in that while we were yet sinners, Mashiach died for us. Much more then, being now justified by his blood, we shall be saved from wrath through him. For when we were enemies, we were reconciled to Elohim by the death of his Son. Much more being reconciled, we shall be saved by his life. Do y'all not realize this man came and helped the ungodly? Do you not realize he came and loved those that hate Yah? He loved you to the point, John 15:10, he loved you to the point he laid his life down. So the wrath of Elohim had to fall on his head, but we know good things were found in Yahushua because he prepared his heart to seek Yahuwah. Then we're going to have to show you that this man was going through the land to bring the people back. So you see in two different men, the judgments that fall upon both of them were the judgments of Yahushua. But you see them in reverse. Because Jehoshaphat came to help the ungodly. Therefore, wrath of Elohim had to fall on him. But we also see that that Ahab dying was a similitude of Yahushua and your redemption. And these are the things where he say they've been blinded, he's been disguised, they can't see him. Because we say they hear the law of Moses and the prophets read every Shabbat day, yet the veil is upon their heart. I hate when that happens. Hello? Dang, I forgot what I asked for. But nevertheless, come over here to Matthew chapter 4. It'll come back to me in a minute. God willing. Matthew 4 and 11. Four and 12 actually. Now when Yahushua heard that Yachanan was cast into the prison, he departed into Galilee. And leaving Nazareth, he came and dwelt in Capernaum, which is upon the sea coast, and in the borders of Zebulun and Naphtali, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by Yeshayahu the prophet, saying, the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali by the way of the sea, beyond Jordan of Galilee of the Gentiles. The people which sat in darkness saw a great light. And to them which sat in the region, the shadow of death, light has sprung up. And at that time Yahushua began to preach and say, repent, for the kingdom of Shamahim is at hand. Now this man is about to go through the whole land to bring the people back. That's right, that was John 15 and 10 I asked for. Let's look at John 15 and 10. And after John 15 and 10, I'm trying to think of the other thing that I want. Luke chapter 13 and verse 30. Remember now, he got to do everything that the book say. He got to fulfill everything that the book say. He said, if you keep my commandments, you shall abide in my love. Even as I've kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. Because remember now, he said, here's some good things found in thee, because you prepared your heart to seek your Elohim. And you've gotten rid of the groves, you've gotten rid of the idols, and you go about to bring the people back. But nevertheless, there will still be wrath upon you from Elohim, because you loved them that hate Yahudah, and you helped the ungodly. We have to remember that this man knowingly took on wrath. He knowingly knew that it was written of Jehoshaphat that the wrath of Elohim came on him for helping the ungodly and loving them that hate Yahudah, and that man was wanting to do it anyway. These things have I spoken unto you, that your joy might remain in you, and that your joy might be made full. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. Greater love have no man than this, that a man lay his life down for his friends. That man laid his life down for y'all. Because he came and loved those that hate Yahudah and helped the ungodly. That man said, greater love have no man than this, that a man lay his life down for his friends. This man laid his life down to help out the ungodly. Say, well, we were yet without strength, but Mashiach died for the ungodly. He came and helped the ungodly. He said we were enemies to Elohim. We were reconciled by his blood. We hated Yahudah. He said he will repay his enemies to his face, all those that despise me, those that break his commandment. This man said, I will reconcile you that you no longer be his enemy. So therefore I'll take that wrath of Elohim, because I love those that hate Yahudah. Now how you can't turn back around and reciprocate that love back to this man, knowing this man knowingly took this wrath on from his father. For your sake, not his. For your sake, not his. He didn't do that for him. He did that for us. John chapter 10, verse 17. John chapter 10, verse 17. And we'll look at Luke 13 and 30. Therefore doth my Father love me, because I lay down my life that I might take it again. No man take it from me, but I lay it down of myself. I have power to lay it down. I have power to take it again. This commandment have I received of my Father. Man say, nobody takes it from me. I decided to lay my life down for the ungodly because I loved you. Before we look at Luke chapter 13 and 30, 1 John chapter 2. Actually, it's chapter 4. Praise Yahuwah by Hashem Yahushua for the word. It's things like this here. When that understanding comes of understanding the word. 1 John 4 and 13. Matter of fact, 1 John 4 and about verse 7. That ought to move and motivate a man to stand upon the word, knowing what this man done took on and experienced on for our sake. Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of Elohim. Everyone that love is born of Elohim and know Elohim. He that love not know not Elohim, for Elohim is love. And this was manifested the love of Elohim towards us, because that Elohim sent his only begotten Son into the world that we might live through him. Herein is love, not that we loved Elohim, but that he loved us and sent his Son to be the propitiation for our sins. Beloved, if Elohim so loved us, we ought to also love one another. No man hath seen Elohim at any time. If we love one another, Elohim dwell in us, and his love is perfected in us. Hereby know we that we dwell in him, and he in us, because he has given us his Ruach. We have seen and do testify that the Abba sent the Son to be the Savior of the world. Whosoever shall confess that Yahudah is the Son of Elohim, Elohim dwell in him, and he in Elohim. And we know and believe that the love of Elohim have to us. Elohim is love, and he that dwell in love, dwell in Elohim, and Elohim in him. So we turn around, we know the love of Elohim is to do what he says, and to believe his Son and trust in his Son. But he noticed how he said that you should also understand that he loved us first. We did not love him. Because if we were ungodly, how could he love us? We were ungodly. How could he love us? That man said he hates sinners. He hates all unrighteousness. This is what the book say. So with Yahushua coming and he's sitting back willing to lay his life down for his friends, he's showing you that love. That's why the wrath had to come on. That's why he got hung up on the stake. That's why he got spit on. That's why he got beaten. That's why he got stoned. That's why he got slapped. Because he helped the ungodly and loved them that hate Yahudah. Therefore, that wrath had to come upon him. Therefore, knowing that, hold on. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and about verse 8. That man did all that so you could be spared from that wrath. Excellent. But let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and of love, and for a helmet the hope of salvation. For Elohim have not appointed us to wrath, but obtained salvation by our Master Yahushua HaMashiach, who died for us, that whether we wake or sleep, we should live together with him. Wherefore, comfort yourselves together and edify one another, even as also ye do. So this man done died for you, so that wrath that he said that was on him for helping the ungodly and loving them that hate Yahudah, now this man blood and be able to turn that wrath from you. So therefore that free gift or that grace or that favor that's been extended unto you, do not treat it as an unkadosh thing by sinning willfully and despising the covenant, and treating it as an unset apart thing and doing despite the ruach of favor by doing what you want to do. Understand the gravity of the situation. Understand the strength of the mercy and the willingness to redeem his creation back unto him, that you might do just like we read Wednesday. Lo, this is our Elohim. We have waited for him. We trusted in his salvation. We have waited for him. You know, I just was talking about this the other day to a couple people, and I know this for myself, boy. Sometimes Yahuwah saved you from situations, boy, that would have been very, very detrimental to you. I know that's here. I didn't have to meet at least 3-4 times. Hello? At least 3-4 times. At least 3-4 times. The way he know that if I would have let you finish it on out, it would have killed you and took you to hell. I got you up out of that so you wouldn't go to hell. You know what I'm saying? When you sit back and look at Jehoshaphat, he took him up out of that. When he cried unto him, he took him up out of that. Even though Jehoshaphat's desire was to fight with his brother. He said, as you are, I am. That's the same thing Mashiach said to you. All are one. For which cause he's not ashamed to call them brethren. He looked at Ahab and said, we're one. I'm not ashamed to call you my brother. We got to make sure Mashiach look at us and he's not ashamed to call us his brother. This man can save you from situations where you think that, yeah, man, it's the best thing for me. This is what I really want. And, you know, it take you down. And I'm just speaking for me. I know that didn't happen 3-4 times. It don't seem like it at the time. You usually don't actually get to see the actually what he delivered you from till time has passed and you look back at it. And you see that if you would have continued down this road, you would have been through. In the long run, in the end, it would have been way more detrimental to you than positive. When you sit back and look at that, you know your whole life is about choices. And the consequences, whether they be positive or negative, are them choices. And sometimes Yahudah take the choice from you and just remove you from a situation so you don't even get that negative consequence upon your head because that's not his will for you to receive that. Just as we seen with Ahab. It wasn't Yahuwah's will for Jehoshaphat to receive that negative consequence of death in that situation. That was not his will. Therefore, he didn't receive that. It was Yahuwah's will for Ahab to perish. Because it was Jehoshaphat felt like the thing to do was to fight with his brother. This is what he wanted to do. But Yahudah spared him because he could have killed him and let him die with Ahab. But he didn't though. He took him out of that situation. But he let the one that he wanted to take down, he let him go. Got to think about that. Got to weigh that out of your brain. Luke 13:30. 31 to be specific. The same day there came certain Pharisees saying unto him, get thee out and depart from hence, for Herod will kill thee. O coward niggas. And he said unto them, go ye and tell that fox, behold, I cast out devils, and I will do cures today and tomorrow, and the third day I shall be perfected. Nevertheless, I must walk today and tomorrow and the day following, for it cannot be that a prophet perish out of Jerusalem, just like what Jehoshaphat did, going from Beersheba to Mount Ephraim. You get John chapter 4 as well, probably about verse 12. The man got to go through the land and bring the people back. This man has to go through the land. If you bring the people back, that means he's causing them to repent and to return. Yahushua walked from Beersheba to Mount Ephraim to cause the people to repent and to return. Because he wanted to help the ungodly and he loved them that hated Yahuwah. So therefore he was willing to take that wrath. But there were good things found in him because his mind was set to seek Abba and Shamahim. And that's the same thing we have to realize, that all this good things got to be found in us, that we have a heart to seek Elohim. O Jerusalem, which killed the prophets and stoned them that are sent unto thee, how often would I have gathered thy children together as a hen doth gather her brood under her wings, and ye would not. Behold, your house is left unto you desolate. Truly I say unto you, you shall not see me until the time come when ye shall say, Baruch is he that come in the name of Yahuwah. A lot of people won't see this man until they open their mouth and say that. Then in 9 times out of 10, it's going to be too late. John chapter 4, verse 12. As we get ready to wind this on down. It's about 10 forward. About wind this on down. Got done a little earlier than usual. Well, we used to get done around the time many moons ago. Because we used to start a little earlier many moons ago. Well, yeah, John chapter 4. I got verse 12. Let's make sure that's what I'm looking for. Yeah, we got to go down a little lower. John chapter 4 is probably about verse 39. It said, many of the Samaritans of the city believed on him for the saying of the woman which testified, he told me all that I ever did. So when the Samaritans would come unto him, they besought him that he would tarry with them, and he abode there 2 days. And many more believed because of his own word, and said unto the woman, Now we believe, not because of thy saying, for we have heard him ourselves, and know that this is indeed the Mashiach, the Savior of the world. Now, what was on here is this is the woman he met. He asked her to get him something to drink, and then he told her how many husbands she had, and the man that she was with was not her husband. So therefore she told him, Sir, I perceive that thou art a prophet. And then he went to letting this woman know a few things. And then the disciples went to asking him, why are you even talking to her? Because, we didn't mess with no Samaritans. But do you notice what the people told that woman? He said, now we believe. Not because you said it. See, because we heard him ourselves. We know this is indeed the Mashiach, the Savior of the world. I mean, he sat down and he preached that word to these people. He called these people to repent and turn back. Because remember, he's at Mount Ephraim, Samaria. That's in Ephraim. That's in that area now. Got to remember that. Now after 2 days, he departed thence and went into Galilee. For Yahushua himself testified that a prophet have no honor in his own country. Then when he was coming to Galilee, the Galileans received him, having seen all the things that he did at Jerusalem at the feast. For they also went unto the feast. So Yahushua came again into Cana of Galilee, where he made the water wine, and there was a certain noble woman whose son was sick at Capernaum. Now we ain't going to get into all that. So we sit back and we look at him, we see him in Ephraim. Going through there because it mentioned Mount Ephraim, so we see him in Samaria. And then the reason why we looked at him telling the scribes and Pharisees, man, check this out, man. I walked today because a prophet can't perish out of Jerusalem, because we got to show him in the land of Yahudah walk around, because that's where Beersheba is. Because he was going through all these places to cause the people to return. Let's finish. Let me look at 2 Chronicles 19, see anything else we need to add on that. I don't think it is, because I'm about ready to call this one here a wrap, man. Let y'all depart. Yeah, we good on that. We's good on that. Come over here to 1 Timothy 3 and 14. We start right there. First Timothy 3 and 14. Excelente. These things write unto thee, hoping to come unto thee shortly. But if I tarry long, that thou may know that thou ought to behave, how ought to behave thyself in the house of Elohim, which is the synagogue of the living Elohim, the pillar and ground of the truth. And without controversy, great is the mystery of godliness. Elohim was manifest in the flesh, justified of the Ruach, seen in Malachim, preached unto the Gentile, believed on in this world, and received up into esteem. So hallelujah for Yahushua in the world. We'll stop right there. We won't go any further.